a lot of times we're thinking of who do we want to attract? What is our ideal client when you're not clear on who you are and what your vision is on your main street, just like Walt Disney. And so I encouraged people in corporate, people in the entrepreneurial space to really spend time in their foundational process. And that is, what do I want my business to look like? And that's clarity. That's what we talk about. And my mission, what do I stand for?
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Hero of the Hour podcast. We're delighted to introduce you to Cathy Savage, the visionary owner of the Savage Coaching Agency. Cathy's journey spans over 3 decades, during which she transitioned from being a prominent figure in the fitness industry to becoming a catalyst for thousands of women's success across various sectors. She's graced the screens of MTV, ABC News, Fox News, and ESPN, and her insights have found their way into numerous magazines, both in print and online. Cathy has a knack for propelling her clients into the limelight, connecting them with the right people, and paving their path to extraordinary success. In today's episode, Mark sits down with Cathy to delve into her entrepreneurial odyssey, from the inception of her fitness empire to her current role as an elite coach, making a significant impact on women all over the world. They'll also explore Cathy's groundbreaking Proof Toolkit, a step-by-step approach that empowers women to confidently navigate their health, body, lifestyle, and long-term relationships. Moreover, Cathy will reveal her profound belief in the power of mindset, a decision to believe in oneself. Join us in this enlightening conversation and let's learn together. Enjoy.
I'm happy to have with us our special guest today, Cathy Savage. And I want to get this right. Cathy, I know you've been featured on MTV, ABC News, Fox News, ESPN, and I know you've contributed to countless magazines and publications, and thank you for coming and taking some time with us today.
Oh, Mark, it's so great to be here. Thank you.
You know, we call this podcast kind of the hero of the hour, so I guess that makes you the hero of the hour. But I wanted to know, tell me a little bit about. I just love to know, what does a hero mean to you, or who are some of your heroes?
Oh gosh, thank you, and thank you for the invite here, Mark. I love the word hero. I immediately think of my mom and dad, who were my heroes growing up. I know people have role models they've never met, and I'm someone who believes that in order to have a hero, you need to know them and meet them. You can be inspired by other people, but my heroes are absolutely my parents, who told me at a young age that there was nothing I can't accomplish and that I was destined for greatness, and told me they loved me every single day. And when I think of heroes, I think immediately of my mother and father.
That's pretty nice, and that makes you among a group of lucky people who had great parents like that. You know, one of the things I've seen, because I've been around so long, is I've seen, women emerge as a force in the business world, in the political world, in the social world, like it wasn't when we were kids. And I love the fact that, you sort of, I love the phrase women supporting women, because not only in the old days did men not support women, but women didn't support other women. I know that's sort of your passion about women supporting women. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, and you're so right. Generations really spoke a different language, in our age group. But, just knowing that you don't have to compete with any woman, that your success can be part of her success, was something that was always drilled into my head as an athlete growing up. And so when I started working with women, I treated it like an athletic team. And my beginnings of business were establishing the first one of a kind membership for women in fitness. And I took a very individualized sport and I created the team concept. A lot of my inspiration came from John Wooden and Coach K, the basketball coach of Duke. These were people that I followed in my professional coaching practice. And I utilized a lot of their skill set to encourage women to support each other so that your win could be everybody's win. And that's what we did. We took the team concept in a very individualized sport of competitive fitness, where everybody had a part of the win. And through that, a sisterhood began so that you stopped caring so much about yourself and you were looking at everyone as winners. I believe that a lot of that also came from my Jesuit education at Boston College, where our motto was men and women for others. And so I think that's transcended in my practice and my work experience of just always supporting one another, never comparing, just being inspired by each other. And together we all win as a unit. That's never changed in anything that I've done. I do it in motherhood. I do it in my business, and supporting other colleagues as well.
That is true. I'm so old that I actually went to Coach K's basketball camp when I was a kid, but that was when he was the head basketball coach at Army, not at Duke. It was
Yes.
like 1978,
Yep.
1979 when I was in high school, and you could tell. I mean, nobody ever heard of him, but you could tell he was going to be a star, just the way he handled himself. For a guy who's so unassuming, had so much charisma and so much wisdom, and and then and John Wooden. I mean, the pyramid of success is and putting your socks on, showing people to put their socks and shoes on. I think is the essence of simplicity and brilliance. So
Mhm.
you mentioned, before I get into your business and other things, as you know, I went to Indiana University, and now we have 2 of our 5 kids in Bloomington, and that's my happy place. In fact, that's why I can't talk, because I was screaming as we defeated Purdue, the number 1 team in the country, although I'm too old to storm the court, even though I was on the court. But tell me about Boston College. That seems to be also such a happy place for the Savage family.
Yes, my mom and dad were alumni. My sister got her PhD there. I had one brother who did not go because he got a football scholarship to Colgate, and so
Okay.
he's kind of the black sheep of the family. But yeah, Boston College has been that beautiful bond that we've had as a family. Of course, when my parents went there, it was not what it is now. It was actually a working man's type college. My dad has a beautiful story there. We have a scholarship in his name there, and both my kids are there now. One's a freshman, one's a junior, and we hope to continue that legacy. There's just a certain energy, as I know you probably feel at your alma mater, that energy never goes away, whether you graduate a year ago or you graduated a long time ago. I graduated in 1985 with Doug Flutie, and I still get on that campus and feel the energy like I did when I was there.
I feel exactly the same way. It's allowed us to really stay even more involved with the university, and it's my happy place. I think a lot of people don't know. I know you've had this very successful coaching business. I know you've had a fitness business that's, I think, over 3 decades old. Tell people a little bit. I love that question when you started. Tell me how you started, and tell me where you are right now, and tell me where you're going. Because people,
Yeah.
for people who don't know you, for people that don't know you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm.
I started working out in college. I started teaching aerobics. When I graduated, I had a wonderful job in the medical world, but I never lost my love of fitness and working out. And I did so, and I actually ended up competing in this new thing called fitness competitions, where you may have seen them on ESPN a long
Mm.
time ago. You do the one-arm push-ups and the gymnastics. So I competed there for a while, did so, realized there were no coaches doing any of this, and created that market, first of its kind, all-inclusive competition prep company. And when I started doing that, we started getting a lot of notoriety through media. And because we were so different, it was really taking a individualized sport and creating a team concept, like I had said. And so we got a lot of fame for it. The women that I coached did really well. And it really elevated from there into me actually serving as an agent for the girls and trying to get them opportunities like magazine covers and sponsorships and all of that. So I started enjoying that more than dieting them or creating training programs. So what I did with my business is I hired people to replace those aspects so that I could focus on the marketing and the branding, because I really felt that a Savage girl, quote unquote, was that all-American girl next door, beautiful, wholesome, intelligent woman that I really wanted our clients to hold up as a brand. And so we got a lot of notoriety for it. And I kind of became their agent, which is hilarious. I'm not an attorney, and I was negotiating contracts. I didn't even know what I was doing, but I really kept their best interest at heart. And through that, we were able to give a lot of the women promotions and opportunities that they probably never would have had otherwise. And so as my business evolved, I started doing more of the marketing, the branding. My degree is in marketing and branding communications. And then post-grad, I did brand management and digital marketing. So it's evolved into really that end now of helping women monetize their brand, be it in corporate or on their own as entrepreneurs.
I have a whole room. If you look outside my office, of all these very smart, hardworking guys who you describe the person they're looking for. They're looking for a Savage girl, somebody who's smart and hardworking and thoughtful and beautiful and all of those amazing qualities. It's so hard to meet people like that, but and to do that. So including my own children. But
yes, a lot of men would contact me over the years, and they would want to meet some of the girls. So I
really?
always would tell them that's not part of my business.
Yeah, that's a little creepy.
I know.
But that's almost like where I see, one of the niches that we've developed a little bit over the last year is working with a lot of, social media influencers. It sounds like you were at the genesis of that. That was before that was a thing, you were doing that.
Yes, and it's
Yeah.
funny because I teach a lot about how different it is to build a brand before social media and now to build with social media, knowing that right now that just having digital assets makes it so much easier to do. But back in the day, we were flying to events and conferences. I was speaking at them, shaking hands with magazine publishers, trying to get deals with them for the girls, all of that. So now it's been a lot easier as we can teach men and women how to really monetize their name and likeness and using digital assets to create some amazing brand deals. So to me, it's really fun. I know a lot of people don't like social media. I love it because I see it as free ad spend, because I remember those days when it wasn't so free. So yeah, social media is absolutely a wonderful part of what we do. And I really appreciate it more than most because I had to build my initial business without it.
With the Supreme Court ruling on NIL, name, image, and likeness for college athletes, is that a space that you're getting into to help these athletes? Is that something that you're actively working on?
I am actually, and I find it very interesting. I know that there's so many people who love it, and then there are so many people who are worried about it. And, it's a blessing and a curse. And I think it's great it's a great opportunity for college athletes to earn some money and have a little control over their brand. But what the other part is now it really matters who's on the banner, and it matters which picture's on the ticket. And I think before this, athletes would have liked that, but they didn't really need it. And so now I think athletes are looking for opportunities where they kind of were more controlled prior to this. So there's a blessing and a curse. It can be done right. I don't think it'll hurt college sports the way a lot of people think it will, as long as we keep it in control and have good people monitoring and managing. Right now, I'm more concerned with making sure that athletes don't get taken advantage of in the process.
I think I see all sides of that. In fact, we're involved in that ourselves. And, you want to, you just want to see good things. You could see it could go off the rails on
Yes.
money levels.
Right.
I want to put my glasses on because I'm old, because I want to read a quote from you that said, "I love how you say When you have a clear plan, you will know how to move forward to serve your clients well and grow your business. Tell me what that means.
Well, clarity is something that is truly missing, and taking the time to become clear with your mission, your value, and the vision for your company. So whether you have a company like yours or a small company, I always encourage people to really spend a lot of time in their foundational brand process. Who are they? What do they want? I equate it to Walt Disney, where when you walk through Main Street of Disney World, we've all been there, you're in Walt's vision, not yours. And you walk through Main Street, which is really a dichotomy of the way he was raised. And he welcomes you into that vision as a business owner. And I think right now, as you equate your business or your brand, a lot of times we're thinking of who do we want to attract? What is our ideal client? When you're not clear on who you are and what your vision is on your main street, just like Walt Disney. And so I encourage people in corporate, people in the entrepreneurial space to really spend time in their foundational process. And that is, what do I want my business to look like? And that's clarity. That's what we talk about. And my mission, what do I stand for? What is it that keeps me up at night that I want to work on to help my clients? And then my value, why me? Why am I the one to bring this message to the masses? So clarity in your path is really about finding out who you are, not what you do, but who you are. And I spend a lot of time with women, especially, kind of really walking them through that blueprint.
I've always had a coach. I've seen almost every CEO that I work with has a coach. Every athlete I work with has a coach. And there's a lot of coaches out there, but I did notice, I believe you got 4 unique coaching programs, and they're kind of unique to anything that I've been exposed to before. I'd love you to just share what those 4 programs are, and of course, sort of the nuances of each and who would be appropriate for each of those groups.
Yeah, thanks. And I agree with you. I think
Yeah,
your beautiful fiance, Lisa, always
that
has
is true.
said
She is beautiful, inside and out.
she's salt of the earth. She's just someone who I truly, truly cherish, quite frankly. Um,
Well, it only took me 57 years to find her. So was
well,
that
hey, but you saved the best for last. That's for sure. But she always would remind anyone she speaks to, including me, that we're always growing. We never arrive. And so that idea of having that accountability or coaching, it never ends. It never ends. And so that's why I think I work with people who are 7 and 8 figure earners or C-suite people, because they know that they still need to grow in certain areas. And so some of my coaching programs start people from the beginning of their journey. We have an academy. It's a mastermind of her first brand, meaning that they are really deciding on how they want to build their brand or positioning. And then we take it up to private coaching, which is probably my flagship program, where people work with me one-on-one. We build up their foundational brand process and their marketing skills. That's one of my favorite things to do. I know a lot of people like to coach the masses. I've done that before. I truly have that education person in my blood. Both my parents were teachers. And so I love to work with people one-on-one to really take them from zero to, infinity with their brand process and their marketing. And then I have a coaching program that is that old standalone health and fitness for women called Proof. And that is more of a toolkit for women to really take their lifestyle seriously and get them started on a path of better health and nutrition. And so those are kind of that's the circle of coaching styles that I work with. I think I have something for everybody in their process. And I love working with people when they're just getting started. And I love helping people when they're ready for that next level.
Yeah, you mentioned I was going through. Mothership is one of your first flagship programs. Tell me, who is that for? Who
Yeah,
goes
the
to?
mothership program is for women who it's really more executive lifestyle programming. And that is, I'm really proud of it because it's women who know that they were made for more, but they have a lot of responsibility and they keep putting themselves down on the list and they need strategy, whether it's their lifestyle, their relationships, the corporate world, how they can elevate and advance from where they are now. And so that kind of ties in with private coaching with me because they're able to speak to me once a month on Zoom. And then every week they check in with me to make sure they're doing okay. And again, that's a very non-specific membership because a lot of people come to me because they're looking to get promoted in their job. A lot of people come to me because they can't get their health and fitness together. And so I look at everything as a strategy, as a blueprint, and I help them reverse engineer whatever goal they're working on. And that's the beauty of the mothership. It's just that one place where women can go to not feel judged, to not feel ashamed that they want more in their life.
Wow, that is incredibly powerful. You've obviously changed a lot of lives with that. You mentioned the proof toolkit. As a toolkit, tell me a little more about that. And where do you get a proof toolkit? Where can you purchase one?
You can get proof right on my website, cathysavage.com. And it's a 90-day toolkit to really just show women, especially, how they can get to the goal that they thought they could never get to by really through self-respect, loving themselves enough to put the right nutrients into their body, to move their body every day, and to do it in a realistic way where they're not spending hours at the gym. They're not doing the things that they probably think they have to do. And I took proof is kind of the swan song to all of those years in fitness, helping women go from ordinary to extraordinary and keeping their health first place. Because in the fitness world, in the health and fitness world, a lot of people think you have to do some really crazy things. And that is absolutely not the case. And I have the thousands of women who have graced the cover of magazines to prove it, that you can love your body where it's at and you can fuel your body instead of depriving it. And so proof is really just the 3.5 decades of my work in the health and fitness world, all wrapped up into a 90-day toolkit to help people get started. And it's for life. It's lifestyle tips that anyone can use.
And you can get that at cathysavage.com.
Yes.
Cathy with a C.
With a C. Yes.
Yes. The other thing is so many entrepreneurs, we represent, thousands of entrepreneurial companies, people that many of them have started businesses from scratch, or their fathers or mothers or grandmothers or grandfathers started it and beyond. And they start to get some success. And then they start to talk about this mythical thing called branding, or how they're going to brand their company. They get some success. I know you've spent 3 decades plus working on that. I'd love you if you would share a few kind of tips or tricks that you've learned through the years on how to succeed and to make a successful brand.
Yes. Well, yes, that seems to be the buzzword, isn't it? Everywhere.
Right.
And to me, through all my education, through decades of being in the business world, of building multi-businesses, I can say that we've been doing branding since we started our business. It's, when you go to college in the 80s, you learn about branding, and a lot of branding has not changed. And to me, I always teach that branding is simply the way you communicate your value to others. It's not a logo. It's not a website. Those are fun. Those are brand aesthetics, and it gives you some energy toward your identity. But branding is just simply the way you communicate your value, your reputation, what people think and say, their perception. And so that is very, very important, and it's very personal. And so I think a lot of times people talk about branding as if it's their company, their product, their service. And to me, it's personal in so many different ways, because it's really what kind of sets you apart from everybody else, the way you communicate, what's different about you. It really speaks to your zone of genius, what you can do in a little unique way that nobody else can. And this is really great news for people, because a lot of women especially think that they don't have anything to brand, or they're not special enough. Well, everybody's special, and no one has a brand like you. And so the key is in branding is really curating how you want to communicate your value, meaning your zone of genius. What is it about you that makes you different? And so when you stay within that lane of branding, it's limitless, but it's all special. And so a lot of my clients, they don't have comparison syndrome. They don't have imposter syndrome because they know exactly who they are, because they've done the work through that foundational brand process. What makes them so special? It's personal, whether it's business or just posting a couple things on social media. It's the way you communicate your value.
Richard Branson always says, I don't have a business life or a personal life. I just have a life.
Yes.
And I know even myself, everyone's got that dilemma to say, well, I never say, oh, I gave too much time to my kids, or I gave too much time to my business, or too much time to Lisa, or too much time to doing things I want to do personally. Like you're always think you're disappointing somebody because you can't be in 12 places at once. I know one of the things you're very passionate about is helping people differentiate and organize between personal and business life. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I get that a lot from my parents, who were both very busy. My dad ran a whole school system. My mom was a teacher, and they never were too busy for me. And so my dad especially was a great mentor to me. And he always used to say, Cathy, your life is like a table. Your family is the centerpiece, and everything around it is a plate. They're important, but everything revolves around the centerpiece, which is your children. And I've kept it that easy. I've taught that to other women who are really struggling with time management. And knowing your priorities, you never have to question what you should be at or where you should go. No is a complete sentence. I've said no many times to incredible opportunities because they've gotten in the way of that centerpiece, which are my two children. And I know Lisa feels the same way. Lisa has really strong guidelines as well. It's probably why we get along so great. But it's never been a problem for me because I know exactly what my priority is. And that is my family. And I've been able to create incredible business streams, putting them first. I don't feel like I've said no to some opportunities, but I don't feel like I've missed out on anything.
Well, I know you have not. Um, the other thing is so much of life is mindset and developing a winning mindset. Tell me how you coach people on mindset.
Yeah, and that's another big buzzword right now. Mindset is a decision that you make to believe in yourself, not that you are the most important person in the world, but my mindset when I'm coaching someone, and of course, I'm taking from a lot from Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, is that the four most powerful words in the English language are I believe in you. And so my mindset in helping someone else is making sure that they know that I believe in them, but more importantly, that they believe in themselves. Because yes, we have so many facets of mindset and growth and not staying in that fixed area where our mind is so closed. But I think at the end of the day, if we really believe in who we are and we believe in what we're doing and the work that we're a part of, that mindset will always be in growth action. It will always be positive. It will always stay in a place where you know you have purpose. And so I always relate mindset to belief. What are your belief systems? I know what mine are, never question them. So my mindset is always growth oriented. I'm never, ever where I'm supposed to be. I can always learn, but that's because I believe in who I am and I believe that I have a purpose to serve others. And that again is my mindset. It's always my mindset. It never wavers.
Do you think your kids will come into your business, or you think they'll do other things? I
You
think
know,
it's too early to tell.
I always keep an open mind for them. My son is a marketing major at Boston College, marketing and communications. I believe he will probably do something within the scope of my business. He already has. He's just so smart and naturally naturally wired to be a marketer, but I don't know if it would be what he does for the rest of his life. I just think his opportunities are endless, and I want him to know that. My daughter does a lot of the design work in my business part-time, but she's also a communications major and film studies. So she wants to travel the globe. She is ready for anything. And she's 19. She doesn't know exactly what she wants, but I do know that they're really proud of what I've built and they love it. But whether they come full force or not, totally their decision.
One of the things when you are, I find so interesting when you're seen as a thought leader in your field like you are, and there's literally hundreds and thousands of people that hang on your every word and have taken your advice and had better lives. There's expression says it's hard to be a prophet in your own land where there's people paying you for this advice and you give it to your kids. How do you communicate to your kids as opposed to your clients? There's a difference because it's tougher to communicate to your kids to be that prophet in your own land.
It is, but what's really wonderful is sometimes I hear them say something and know that they heard it from me. And that makes me so proud. Um, I will say to my children that about my children is they're just the most loving, kind, genuine two people in the world. And I don't think they picked it up just from me or my husband. I think that they've had really good people around them. And I think the biggest thing that they've done as far as me coaching them is I've listened. I've always listened to them. I've never been the talker. I've always listened to them from the time they were little to now. In fact, right before this, I was talking to my son, FaceTiming, and he was asking about a course for next semester. So we have a very thriving relationship. I don't really feel like I have to coach them, but I do use some techniques with them by asking them questions. What does your gut say? What do you think would be the best thing for you? I'm more of that, so it is a little bit of coaching, I would say, but I try to kind of hold back on probably the inspirational stuff because I'm sure they can see right through that that I've got my marketing hat on.
Yeah, there is some great joy when stuff you've shared you didn't think they were listening, and then down the road they say something where they actually got it, or yeah, and it's hard when you want to help your kids and you want to be there that you have to kind of step back and let them create their own journey
Yes.
and not overfunction for them. That's the hard part when you have a lot of resources or a lot of wisdom.
Yeah.
I think that's a challenge for so many parents. It's very difficult. I think, I keep saying that the thing I have to keep reminding myself is a lot of the growth that I had came from adversity or going through my own journey or disappointment or other things where I just got angry enough where I said I wasn't willing to tolerate these circumstances, and that's how I move forward. And
Mm.
sometimes you as a parent, you want to take that pain away where that you just have to let them experience that. I think that's the hardest thing in this
Yeah.
society for
It
for
is because you don't know, that it's a yin and a yang. And
yeah.
I think, two things come to mind when you say that. In high school, my son had a really, really terrible coach, basketball coach. And he was just not only awful to my son, but he was awful to a lot of the kids. And it was something that my son really had to work through because the coach before him just revered him and gave him so many opportunities. And this guy was just one of those guys that ruins it. And it wasn't just us. And what's ironic about that is I truly believe that's what made my son as resilient as he is. And it sounds crazy and it doesn't sound like a big deal, but to him, it was everything. Basketball was his life. And he didn't get as much playing time near the end as he deserved to have. And everybody told him he should be out on that court all the time. So, when you're a 17-year-old kid, it's hard. But it actually became part of his essay going into college. He's written papers on it. And now he looks back at it and he says, now that I'm playing basketball in college and I'm winning all these championships and I'm doing all these things, it's a really great feeling to know what I went through, and I'll never treat anyone like that in my life. So he learned so much from that. And believe me, Mark, I wanted to go and just, get in there and tell the guy off. I really wanted to, but my son handled it himself. And I think that that was a huge marker for him. He focused more on his grades probably than he would have otherwise. So there was always something that, is in our kids' lives. And I've always told them that famous line of things happen for you, not to you. What are you going to do? What is going to happen through this disappointment? And they've had disappointments in their lives, but they've worked through it. But I think as a parent, I believe in unconditional love. I believe that you're a fireman. You're there. You're not always putting out fires, but your kids know that you're sitting in that firehouse waiting just in case a fire happens and that you're there to support them. I truly believe my children are the result of that philosophy, knowing that they might have to figure out something on their own, but that I've got their back no matter what.
Well, first of all, I know you've said that no is a complete sentence, and I am just very grateful you didn't say no to me to come on this podcast. And I just appreciate all your expertise and wisdom, and I would just hope that anybody that is watching this would just go to cathysavage.com, because I think you'll find a lot of inspiration, a lot of opportunity to just get better. And Cathy, thank you.
Oh, Mark, thank you. And might I thank you for just, I feel like I know every part of you just from the love and um, just so much admiration that people that I care for care about you. And so
So
I'd like
kind.
to thank you for being that person in so many people's lives. I don't know if you're aware of how many people you do impact for the better. And I'm just glad to know you. So thank you for the opportunity.
I've always said that, to me, that the reason, the reason to have a business is to elevate the lives of other people. It's not just
Mhm.
to make. It's great to make money and it's great to be successful, but the reason this was always my vehicle to make other people's lives better, and that's why we're brother and sister from another mother. Like with Lisa, that's why we have a camaraderie together, because we and a lot of our other friends, all feel that way, and it. It's pretty life changing, and so thank you, and I hope to get to see you soon.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thanks, Cathy. Bye bye.
Bye bye.